This is the view of my front yard and garden area. As you can see, we are still in the depths of winter, but it doesn't mean we can't start planning for the future growing season. So I've got a rough sketch of how I want the garden to look this year. Instead of 3 sisters, we're doing 2 sisters in our biggest bed. So that'll be corn and squash. Next to that will be potatoes in the same buckets, but we'll have fresh compost, so I'm not worried about disease. I've got a bed dedicated to bush beans, one that'll have both carrots and onions, 2 beds of tomatoes, one for Romas, one for slicers, and one that's going to have cherry, Roma, and slicers. And then I have the greens in the palette. Now I'm also going to put all my peppers in the hotbed. The cucumbers will grow along the fence line, and I'm also going to try melons along another side of the fence. I'm hoping to take advantage of vertical space to increase our yield, so that way I don't have to take up more yard space, because playroom in the yard is very important to us. So I'm hoping this will work. All right, so we have our little seed starting greenhouse set up in the living room, and I have chosen my seeds that I want to start, and I have them sitting on our germinating mat, the little heat mat that came with our seed dome when we first started 2 years ago. Same with this greenhouse. This is the 3rd year using this greenhouse, and everything is holding up well. So here I have, let's see, Carolina Reapers, Matt's Wild Cherry Tomatoes, Pick Me Quick Sweet Peppers, Boxcar Willie, and jalapeno peppers. So the only thing I don't have started yet is Romas, because I had to order those. So I'm waiting for those to come in the mail. Now some of you are probably thinking like, wow, it's really early to be starting seeds. And kind of yes and no. Our first year we started seeds about mid-late January, and they were well established by the time we transplanted. Now last year I waited later because I felt that we started them too early, and they never really seemed to take off. So that's part of the reason why I'm starting them early again. Another reason is a lot of these seeds I accidentally left out in the garage, and I'm not sure how the hard freezing temps are going to affect my germination. So if it's going to be a big problem, I need to find that out now so I have time to order replacements or find them in the store, and I can get them started on time. So, as well as that, these are the trays that I saved from last year's starts that I bought to replace my seeds that didn't thrive. So I saved these. They need to be washed. I'm going to wash them and sanitize them before I put new seeds in them. So I have quite a few slots here. It's still not enough for everything I'm starting. So I've started making my paper seed pods again. I'm going to need a total of 73 in addition to these here. And that's just for these seeds here. I do have a few herbs that I'm looking to start, but I'm probably not going to start those for another month or so. So I have time before I have to find out how many pods I need for those. So I wanted to show you how I make my paper pods. Free, cheap, biodegradable. So let's make some seed pods. Alright, so here's what you're going to need. You're going to need newspaper. You can use a variety of sizes. I use both this kind of shorter sized paper and then your traditional full sheet of a newspaper. Both of them will work. This one rolls better and dries together better. This one takes a little more effort to get to dry into place, but they both do the job just fine, and they hold up to the many waterings until planting out. So, I like to use the 8-ounce mason jar. You can also use a small drinking glass, a pill bottle, pretty much whatever you have on hand. I've seen people use toilet paper rolls or paper towel rolls. I like this particular size because it leaves a lot of room for root growth. And by the time we plant them out into the garden, there's lots of roots, but there's no damage on the plant that suggests it's cramped in here for those roots. And then you'll also need a spray bottle. You could also use a damp sponge or washcloth, just something to get the newspaper wet. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so I'm folded my paper hot dog style, so lengthwise, and I dampened both sides with my spray bottle. Now, because this is still pretty fat, so when you line your jar up, it's a lot of space to fold up on the bottom, and it's going to make it awkward to stand upright. So, to keep that from happening, I'm going to fold up the bottom by, I don't know, 1.5 to 2 inches. So I'll get this folded up, and then I'll roll my paper around all the way to the end. So now I have wrapped my newspaper around my mason jar, and I'm going to fold in the bottom. I always start with this edge here, so that way when it all dries, this wall doesn't start to unravel. So I'm going to press that down. I'm going to pinch the edges, and just kind of like a triangle, I'm going to fold all the sides down. And then I'm just going to put some pressure on it for maybe 20 seconds tops. It doesn't take a whole lot, just enough to hold it in place so that way it doesn't squish or pop open when you try and take your jar out. So now I'm going to slide the jar out, and there you go. A wonderful seed pod. It'll dry in this shape. It'll withstand all the waterings. It doesn't, in our experience, it hasn't deteriorated too soon. It's free, so instead of having to buy Jiffy Pods or any of those other biodegradable products, you can recycle your own newspaper. I actually get all my newspaper for free because the restaurant I work at, we have the daily newspaper for customers to read every day. So when we have a big pile from the week, I just take them all home. So I have 73 of these to make, so I'm going to get to it. Give it a try. Tell me what you think. Until next time.